Hi YouTube. So this is actually my first response video. Our friend Neil over at The Great Apostate posted a video recently, and I'm going to put the link in the description, about how life when you're a Jehovah's Witness is really only half lived. And this really resonated with me because he is so right about that. There were so many things my entire life that I really wanted to do and really wanted to experience that I just wasn't allowed to. Things could have been so different for me if I hadn't been born a Jehovah's Witness. And I have talked before about my incredible good fortune at being allowed to take piano lessons and do horseback riding and to do theater and stuff when I was in school, during school hours. But even doing those things, I was always held back. I couldn't ever completely take part or really completely enjoy any of it because there were always songs that I couldn't play or sing. There were always shows I couldn't go to. I was always having to explain why the assemblies and conventions just happened to always fall on opening days for plays that I auditioned for. Being a witness means that you can't do anything that is not Watchtower related any more than half-assed. You can't ever be fully present. You can't ever be fully involved. So the best example for me that I can think of this is that I used to love to write. I still love to write. I actually had time to write, and I cranked out at least one full-length novel, but God, it was horrible. Everything that makes for a good read, all forbidden. So no sex, no competition, no conflict. The characters had to be so disgustingly goody two-shoes that what I wrote turned out to just be boring as hell. I mean, you couldn't create the kind of tension that you need for a good story because someone would read it and either try to counsel you themselves for it or turn you into the elders. For example, when I was in high school, in English class one year, we had to write stories, short stories, and then we had to exchange them and critique them. Now, my assignment was from one of my very dear worldly friends, and it was actually very good story, even if it was a little bit dark in a sort of Dashiell Hammett kind of way. One of my aunts was at my house and picked up the folder from the table, and she, without asking, of course, sat down and read it, and then sort of just let me have it for all the worldly content in this story. Worldly content like the character smoked cigarettes and like he had a gun and, you know, was just dumb. Without even giving me a chance to explain or to say that I didn't even write it and it was part of an assignment, I mean, it was ridiculous. But that's what I'm talking about. You can't ever really be authentic as a Jehovah's Witness. And music, oh my God, don't even get me started. My songwriting improved like 100-fold when I left the Witnesses. I mean, wow. So in his video, Neil asked people to post in the comments the things that they've done since leaving the Watchtower that make for a full life. That take you out of that place of living your life kind of halfway and into a place where you have a well-lived life. These are things that you could not have done as a witness. I thought it was kind of funny. It was really cool that Neil's examples personally involved martial arts and UFC, which was kind of a surprise because he comes across as this like really sweet teddy bear kind of guy, and I love the idea that he can kick ass if he needs to. That's pretty cool. Way to go, Neil. It's funny. That's actually the way that I look at my husband, too. Like, he doesn't start shit, but he can finish it. Love that. Personally, I have always wanted to learn karate, but never, of course, never was allowed to as a witness. I was barely allowed to watch the movie, The Karate Kid. The time's really never been right to do that since I've been out. I've been thinking about going with my oldest son and enrolling him in Taekwondo or something. I think it would really help him. I do enjoy yoga, which is also banned by the witnesses. It's just so silly, too. I mean, once you do this stuff, you go, like, I took yoga classes, and I was like, what is the big deal? Why weren't we allowed to do this? Like, that's silly. A lot of it's silly, though. I think about it, and I think about the things that are most important to me now in my life. If I were still a witness, I would most likely be trapped in a loveless marriage like my first one, even though my first husband was not a witness and the marriage actually happened well after my disfellowshipping. I should never have married him. It was just, I got nothing for why that happened. But had I been a witness and had been married to that person, I likely would not have been allowed to divorce him. And my second marriage is kind of a miracle anyway, but it would never have happened at all if I were a witness, mainly because my husband was raised Mormon and kind of has zero time for culty bullshit. Sometime I should tell you the story of how we met. It has zero to do with the witnesses and their issues, but it is quite entertaining. My kids, oh wow. I feel like if I were a witness, I would have probably already broken them. Like, I would have already just ruined them completely. My oldest is 6. I was pretty much destroyed by that point mentally. My family, this is not to be confused with the Jehovah's Witness family, but myself, my husband, and my children. It's the number one thing that makes my life well lived at the moment. However, there are several things that I should mention to you in answer to Neil's original question. First, obviously, I got my college degree. Not just once, 3 times. First, I got an associate's degree from a local technical school, and then I transferred those credits to a 4-year school, where I got a bachelor's degree with a dual major. And then I went to Clemson University for my master's degree, where I graduated with a 4.0. And less than $5,000 total in student loans by the end of it all. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, Jehovah's Witnesses. Weaker vessel, my ass. I also trained for and ran a marathon. That is 26.2 miles in one stretch at one time. Doing that, I raised over $4,400 for cancer research myself, and collectively at that event we raised something like $12 million. It was super cool. And it was hard as hell. It was harder than labor, actually. I'll probably never do it again. I might do a half marathon, and I would definitely do 5Ks or 10Ks or mud runs or something, but no more full marathons for me. I think those days are over. But can you imagine what kind of counsel I would have gotten at the Kingdom Hall for doing that? I mean, for the workout clothes alone, never mind the time that I could have spent in the preaching work. Oh my God. One of the other things is that despite a pretty rocky year last year, I have had a pretty awesome, pretty upwardly mobile career. Last year, I let myself be recruited away from a job that I actually liked a lot by a big job title and a big paycheck, and it turned out to be a huge mistake. I learned about doing homework, not only about the organization that you're going to work for, but also the person that you're going to work for. I hated that job more than I have ever hated anything. In fact, if I had been given a choice between going back to the Kingdom Hall and spending one more day in that office, I probably would have gone back to the Kingdom Hall. Seriously, it was that bad. But I was very lucky to be financially stable enough and to have a husband who's supportive enough that I could just quit without another job lined up and make a complete and total change. Just said, see you guys, bye, I'm out. Hate this. It took me 5 months to decompress, so I spent 5 months unemployed on purpose, and then decided what kind of change I wanted to make, and very quickly I found the perfect job here in North Carolina. I am a university administrator in the performing arts, and I love it. It's awesome. Obviously, I would not be able to do any of this as a witness. I mean, clearly, the education wouldn't have happened, so I wouldn't even be able to get this job. I work at a university in performing arts. I really, that would be like the trifecta of jobs you're not allowed to have as a sister. I'm just saying. I still also have a long list of things that I regularly do, like public speaking and leadership at work, or would like to do sometime. I would love to take swing dancing classes, or do karate, like I said, that I would never have been able to do as a witness. But my biggest answer to Neil's question, what makes your life well lived, is that now I can go all in on everything I do without worrying about what Sister So-and-so might think or what I'll get dragged in the back room and yelled at for this week. I can be authentic. I can love unconditionally. I can enjoy my life without being afraid of Armageddon or demons or feel guilty because I'm having fun and not preaching 100% of the time. Because I hated preaching, FYI. I can be who I am. I can wear what I want. I can be friends with anyone I take a shine to. It's kind of cool. Now, I would love to see other YouTubers talk about this. I think sometimes we, myself included, we get stuck on talking about the bad side of it because there is such a bad side. But it's important for our viewers to see the positive side of our experiences too. It might be hard to get to this place where we are from where we used to sit at the Kingdom Hall, but it's so worthwhile. It's so worth doing. What about you? What is it that makes your life well lived on the outside? And to extend that a little bit, what do you want your life to look like? Because out here in the real world, you can have it. You just have to figure out how to get there.